2, 1. Well, it's good evening, good afternoon, and good morning, wherever you are on this planet today. You're coming from Radio FM 88 Australia studios. And in the top left-hand corner is my good mate and fellow co-host, Julia Chai. In the top right-hand corner from where I'm looking, it's Marie-Louise. And this is a journey that every female may at some time come across it. It's a subject that's probably more in the world of women's business. But if you're a husband, grandfather, or you're a brother or a lover, then I'd stay tuned as a male to listen to this particular talk that's coming through from Marie-Louise. And with that, I'll pass it on to Julia. Hello.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us for this show. We're delighted to have Jeffrey Shaw and Marie-Louise Browne join us today. I was very inspired to hear that Marie-Louise had actually managed on her own accord, using her own methods, to beat the big C, which is the cancer. She did that totally without submitting to the surgeon's knife or to chemo. So we've invited Marie-Louise to join us here. Welcome, Marie-Louise.
Hello, everyone. Hi, Julia. Hi, Jeff. Thank you for inviting me on the show. I'm really excited to be here and share the journey with you and what I've actually, gone on. So, really looking forward to it tonight. Certainly been an inspiring journey.
Yeah, and you look really bouncy and amazing, and like I wouldn't know that you had actually had breast cancer. So tell us about sort of, I guess, the start of the journey when you got launched into it.
When you say launch, do you mean as in when I found the lump, you mean? Is that what you're saying? Yeah, that's actually a really interesting question, and how it all actually came about. I had a mammogram in February, I think it was 2019, and I actually got it the all clear, and they actually said, yes, no problem, you're all good, come back in whatever it was, in a year or 2 years. And then I was actually in the supermarket doing my shopping one day, and all of a sudden this voice spoke to me and said, check your breasts. And it was actually a guy checking out my goods in the supermarket. And I just went, okay, I'll try and do it discreetly. And I kind of put my hand there, and I knew that it was my left breast. And I actually found this lump. And I actually had a fibroadenoma about 7 years earlier that it was a lot flatter and a lot wider. So I kind of had a feeling of what it was like. And again, my intuition spoke to me and told me about that one as well. And this one was a little bit more scary because it was really round and quite high. And immediately when I felt it, I just went, this doesn't feel right. So I then took myself off to the doctor. And so then I was, taken to get an ultrasound. And that was like when my world started falling apart, because they said, I'm not really, this doesn't look very good. And so then I was referred on to the hospital, and before they could even get the test, the doctor actually said, this is really suspicious. So they did a biopsy, an ultrasound first and then a biopsy. And I was an absolute blubbering mess by the end of the day, because it was a long weekend actually. So I had to wait 4 or 5 days to actually get the results back. So it was really quite scary, because I'm a single mum of 2 teenage girls. And I just thought, well, if I can't work, then what am I going to do? How am I going to survive? How am I going to, pay my bills? So I do remember that was a thing that came crashing down to me when they first said, it's really quite serious. So, and then do you want me to continue on as to, the journey?
No, I have lots of questions. So first thing is, again, at that point, what did you know about breast cancer? What was your experience or your ideas about that?
Well, the first thing was my aunt on my father's side, she actually's had breast cancer 3 times, and I remember her probably about 8 years ago saying to me, I don't speak to her very often, but she just randomly said, Marie-Louise, you just need to keep checking with breast cancer. And I'm going, it won't happen to me. I eat really healthily. It's all good, no problem. So it was in my face, but it was like, it won't happen to me. I never get sick. I've got a strong immunity. But just to go on to that, I actually had put my body under a lot of pressure at that time. I had 3 jobs. And I wanted to take my kids to Africa because there's some 30 years ago I wanted to experience of the journey. And so I did that. So I had to save myself a lot of money, about $20,000 in 8 months. And so I had 3 jobs and my body was screaming out for me to stop. So I was going, no, we're going to Africa, be quiet. So anyway, sorry, yeah. I can't hear you, Julia.
You must have turned yourself. Oh, you've gone and muted yourself, Julie.
Yeah, sorry, it just warbled. Thank you, Jeff. It just warbled a bit. It broke up. So you were saying that you were doing 3 jobs and you were under a lot of stress, and then there was something about Africa and the sand cut out. So I was asking you to repeat that.
Yeah, I actually wanted to take my children to Africa because I'd gone there 30 years prior. So that was the inspiration, and that was what led to the stress. So I guess I can't stress enough the level that you put yourself under stress. And how that reduces your immune system. So I just remember waking up for 3 months with vertigo. I'd get up and my head would be spinning. So I just kept thinking, my body was going, please stop. And going, no, be quiet. We're going to Africa. And I had a lot of money to save because I wanted to pay cash for this trip, and it was a lot of money, about $20,000 I had to actually save. So that was really the starting point of it. And other than that, just to answer your question before, really, I hadn't really very little experience with breast cancer other than my aunt getting it. So, and it wasn't really in my sphere, and it wasn't even in my radar. It was like, no, I'll never get that. I'll never get cancer. I'm all good. I know what to do. Yeah.
And just circling back to that day in the supermarket, what kind of a voice was it? What you're saying, it was like a male voice, was it, or just a sort of a thought voice?
I'm not sure. I can't remember. It was just a voice. I don't know whether it was a male or female, but it was exactly the same voice that had spoken to me that 7 years earlier. And it was just an intuitive. I don't know. You could say it was my guides, or I'm very in tune with angels. So whoever it was, I don't know who it was, but it was just a voice that was speaking to me. So it was interesting, and I listened to it. And the hospital said, that's really amazing that you actually got yourself in here, because a lot of women, when they find the lump, they actually run away for sometimes up to 2 years because they're too terrified of the answer. Yeah, so.
Yeah, that's the kind of denial reaction, isn't it?
Yes, yeah. And so it is quite stressful, but it was kind of me. It didn't even enter my head. I was really surprised when she said that, because it was just get in there and get it done straight away and sort it out.
So I guess you found out, and then over that long weekend, you were faced with the fact that the doctors were basically really worried about it, and so it was serious. And and you said your main concern was that you wouldn't be able to work. You're a single mum, you've got the teenage daughters as well. So that would be really enough to make most people want to just crawl away and give up and be a victim, wouldn't it?
It was I remember when they said that I actually went to pay, and I just completely broke down into tears. And they wouldn't let me go for at least an hour, they were so lovely at the hospital, I'm going to say. And she was really lovely, and she was going, that you'll be fine and you'll be able to handle it. And so it was really scary. And and I hadn't even had the confirmation, but she was absolutely certain that that was the case. So I guess in some ways it was good having those 4 days. Or 5 days, because then I could prepare myself. So when she actually rang me and said, I'm confirming that it is, it was almost like, well, you pretty much told me anyway. So all the shock, it wasn't as huge a shock when she actually told me. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I just interrupt? At this moment in time, you mentioned that you're a solo mum, so there's no male support in the house at the moment, at that time?
Not at the time, no. I felt very alone on my journey. My kids were, they're teenagers and they were really busy at school, and so they would, I did it on my own really, and I had a lot of other people. That's the thing I really want to actually. I don't know, I'd like to do something about that as well, because people who choose this journey don't get the support that the people who choose that go through the hospital system and the conventional system get. So I haven't had an income for 2 years now, because I'm still trying to get myself fully back on track. So it's taken quite a while. I mean, it took me a year to get cleared, but I'm still working, but I'm slowly and gradually, you learn your limits. And so I've actually learned to go, okay, my body really, I need to ease myself back into this. So, so it's, like people are busy. And so I've got a support here and there, but I was pretty much on my own, and it was quite a stressful journey, to be quite honest. It was, I really made peace with the fact that I could die. So when you actually let go of all the fear of dying, it really gives you a freedom to choose your journey, and it really empowered me, to be quite honest. It might sound really counterintuitive, but it was very empowering, actually. Yeah, to then go, okay, well, I'm going to choose my path, because I'm just going to trust. I don't know, there was an inner knowing that I wasn't going to die as well. So that, I don't know, that was very, very strong for me. So, and I knew that my intuition was strongly telling me I had to do it this way, because I was going to help other people in the future. So, that it was very, I always just got very strong guidance that this is the way it had to be. So, but yeah, it was a very lonely journey, I'm not going to lie.
So, your children, what are they, both girls or boy and girl?
Yeah, 2 girls. Yes. They were 15 and 13 at the time. Yeah.
So they've gone through puberty as well. So were they sort of throwing their stuff up about, Mum, if you've got it, will we get it? I mean, was that coming forth as well? I mean,
yeah, that's a really great question, actually, because I noticed every time I got scared, every now, like you, even though you can face the fear of dying, you do get scared. I mean, we're human. And so I noticed every time I was scared, they picked up on that, and they went into, they just lost the plot sometimes. I'm not seriously, but they would get really scared as well. So I had to then remain positive and really focused on healing myself, and that kept everyone, the 3 of us, on a steady pace, and not being so stressed about it. Yeah, and that's a really good point. Yeah,
I've realised over the years, attitudinal healing is very important, not only for the person who has the illness, so to speak, but it's the immediate inner circle of family and then the outer family, and you want them to keep a positive picture of you in perfect health, rather than focus on a particular issue that's within the body.
Yeah, and going back to what Julia was saying before about the victim, oh gosh, every now and again I really wanted sympathy and I wanted to play the victim, but then I actually then kept watching videos to pick myself up and get inspiration to keep on going. And I can't stress it enough for the person that's going through the cancer, particularly, and I do agree with the other members as well that are around in your space. But for me, I'm really mindset. I can't stress it enough, because my dad just went through a really traumatic aneurysm of the aorta, and the doctors keep saying, I can't believe he's still alive. But I've kind of come to realise his attitude. He so wanted to survive, and I think it's an attitude. It really is a mindset thing. So that's a really important thing, to keep your energies high, even though it's really challenging and hard. I think that's a really important point to make to people. Yeah.
So, Marie-Louise, could I just ask you, I mean, from just listening to you, it sounds like there were two things you were facing, well, three things. One is, your family and trying to not upset the cart so that you could all move forward. The second thing would be internally, whatever symptoms or reactions you were having to the whole situation of being told and diagnosed as having the breast cancer. And then the third one would be dealing with the doctors who'd given you the diagnosis and wanted to heal you. So where you were alluding to my way versus the other way. So I guess in terms of the doctors, which we've just talked about, what were they telling you was, the way that you should be following? What way did they want you to take?
It was a really terrifying menu, and some people get scared and run to the doctors, and I got scared and ran away. My mum came with me, bless her, to the surgeon, and she said to me literally lumpectomy, then chemo, radiation, and although the lymph nodes had come back that they were negative, that she wanted to stick this radioactive dye inside of me just to confirm it, just in case. And it was like I'll give you a 2 for the price of 1. So while you're under, we'll just see whether that really is the case. And if necessary, we might remove some. And I'm thinking, no way, I'm not going to let you make that decision while I'm not there to make that decision, because I would have had to sign to say that I would agree to that. So it was possible lymph node removal, and my aunt has lymphedema as a result of getting her lymph nodes removed, and she has terrible swelling in her arm. So that in itself, I just went, no, I'm not doing this. And I just, when I don't know, there was a lack of trust with her. I was just really concerned that she was just going to do it anyway. So there was lumpectomy, chemo, radiation, possible lymph node removal, and then I was going to be put on hormone therapy for 5 years. And I know someone who's was on that at the time, and I think they still are, and they actually said they suffer enormously as a result. So I was getting all these signs to go, that was definitely not the path. And she was quite, I don't know, patronising and forceful in the way that she was presenting, and it's like, and then at the end they were trying to hurry me up, and I had to get back in there in a day or two to make it happen. And so I got out of there, and I never swear to my mother, but I just went, oh my God, what the happened there? What the hell was that about? And and she said, I don't know, that was terrifying as well, because my mum's a naturopath amongst many other things. But she was there to wholly support me. So that was, she was great at that appointment. And so I just went away and went, right. I then started doing research, and I kept seeing on so many different channels and information that you do have time. And I tell you, that was the biggest lesson I actually got from all of this. Don't be rushed into things. You do have time. So I gave myself a week, and I started researching alternative views. My mum actually told me about The Truth About Cancer by Ty and Charlene Bollinger. And because they didn't have any agenda and they weren't paid by any company, they just wanted to get to the truth for their family's sake. About why all his family members had died. I kind of trusted the people that he interviewed. So I started going, okay, I'll listen to the videos that he made and all the specialists that he interviewed. I actually then started researching, well, what are they suggesting? So I then created my own protocol. I pretty much I looked and did all the research and then created all of this myself. So, and I just told the doctors that I wasn't going ahead with their treatments. So,
Well, it sounds like you certainly, made your own decisions and also researched and got information. So from that research, what did you, and you talk about protocols. I mean, neither I or Jeff have had cancer. So but what do you think caused the cancer, just sort of in terms of being able to design a protocol to reverse it? What was your analysis of that?
As in, like, how I came to the conclusion as to what protocols I chose. Is that what you're meaning?
Yeah. If you're doing you're trying to counteract something, you're trying to reverse a process. So
yeah,
probably talking like an engineer here, but something would have led to it.
Oh, sorry. It's interesting because at the time okay, going forward now, I'm part of a lot of groups where they talk about cancer, healing cancer naturally, and all these people get on and say, I'm blah, blah positive, or I'm estrogen or whatever. I actually didn't even, my doctor to this day still has not even given me the official whatever it was. And the gentleman who I actually found who treated me, he did hemaviews for me, and he was a scientist with CSIRO, and now he's got his own clinic. He actually told me about 3 months ago. I said, you know what, nobody's ever told me what this actually is. So, and it was actually estrogen based cancer. But so it's interesting. So a lot of people base their protocols on is it this or is it that type of breast cancer? But I was none the wiser, and I just went, right, okay, I'll just treat breast cancer as breast cancer. I don't know whether that was the most responsible thing to do, but intuitively I just was guided the whole way, I guess. So this was my journey. And so I just, I found Don Tolman. I found him very comforting with a lot of the stuff he has to say. And I went, yeah, what he's saying makes a lot of sense. And then his son Tyler does a lot of juicing and juice fasting. So that was my first protocol. I went, right, I'm going to give this. They go, some people do it a week, 10 days, whatever. I did it for 40 days. I think they did mention 40 days. And I just went, right, well, I've got cancer, so I really do need to do it for the longest period of time just to clear myself of it. So, yeah, I literally for 40 days, I drank nothing but vegetable juice. I was too terrified to drink anything with sugar in it. So every now and again, I'd get a bit bored and I'd go, I need to mix it up. So I put a little bit of green apples in this juice, but it was pretty much, and then I did all the research, okay, what sort of vegetables are good for cancer? So it was your kale, and so carrots were good, and, your ginger and turmeric and, lots of different vegetables. And then you get, I was drinking them 5 or 6 times a day. And so I ended up writing down all my favorite recipes, and, and I had to keep mixing it up. I'm a real believer, and I think that's what Don says as well. Variety, try and get as much variety. Some people go in with that mindset, right, well, the books say you've got to drink lots of carrot juice. But to me, that's just, to me, intuitively, that wasn't a balanced approach. My whole protocol was it's got to be balanced. So that made a lot of sense to me. And I think Don Tolman talks about the rainbow. So eating from the rainbow, so different colours. So I tried to get as much colour into the juices as possible to get the different various minerals and vitamins. So that was a protocol. And then on that truth about cancer, it kept coming up about coffee enemas and the benefit it was to the liver. And that was where the main issue is around the cancer. So you've got a toxic liver. So I went, okay, well, I'll give that a go. So I did coffee enemas twice a day. I still do them. I do them once a day now in the morning. So that really helps as well to keep me detoxified, because I've got a really poor functioning lymph system. And that's interesting. Jeff and I were talking earlier, and he immediately just said, have you looked at lymphatic drainage massage? So it's interesting, but that's it's the lymph system and the immune system that's usually quite poor when you get cancer. So I do dry brushing for the lymph, and I also give myself a self-massage, a lymph drainage massage. So did you want me to mention all the other protocols at this stage, or just to talk about that for now? Or?
Well, it's going to be recorded, so it's going live, but it's recorded, so people can actually play back later. So I'm putting my hand up as a mere male to be fully abreast.
To keep going, you mean?
Half of heaven is supported by males, Jeff. It's a mere male.
Nice.
But yeah, so from what I'm hearing, the detox is, and we'll go to the other protocols. So the juices and the fasting and the lymph would be about detoxing, blood cleansing,
yes,
presumably turning it from acidic to alkaline in the system. Turmeric and all that is anti-inflammatory. Your mum's a naturopath. Did she get you any, I think they say red clover leaf or something is really good against cancer. What kind of herbs did your mum prescribe you?
Oh, okay. Well, it's interesting because, again, this was my journey, and my mum and I love her dearly, but this again was a lesson for me to go, I've got to do this on my own. So she was trying to suggest stuff, and she offered quite a few things, but I wasn't like I was religious. Some people religiously take them. I just took them when I felt the need to take them. So I'm just trying to remember, because I only take them every now and again, but when I really need a boost. So I think mistletoe, and I'm just trying to remember all the other things that she gave me. She's also a herbalist, so she made me up this really lovely immune tonic, a herbal tonic, which was really great. So, and yeah, all of those are really failing me at the moment. But I guess if you want me to, we could possibly add that to the broadcast if people did want to know the specifics of it. But that wasn't a main, although I took them, and a lot of other people talk about the vitamins and minerals. Yeah, crazily enough, I kind of used them, but it wasn't the mainstay of the whole protocol. I tended to get, and I think that's what Don says as well, you don't really, and I think that's probably where I got that from as well. I didn't try and use too many vitamins. I just went, well, if you're using organic and you're actually buying your vegetables from the area where you come from, then you're getting all your nutrients. And so that's that mindset we were talking about earlier. I just went, okay, well, that's going to be enough. And I felt it was enough. So, and I just trusted that it was enough. So I had all these other bits and pieces, but that wasn't one of the mainstays, the protocols that I was using. So it was one of them, but it wasn't the main one, if you know what I mean.
So it sounds yeah.
Tom Tolman, because I send so many people to his lectures. I reckon he's fantastic. He's just gold nugget all the 2 hours. Breasts. He actually brings up grapefruit and he chops them in half, and then he shows you the grapefruit, and he says, "This is the mammograms of the breast. This is the food you should be having, for your breasts." Because when his capsicums and tomatoes represent heart food, and nuts and that, certain nuts represent the brain.
Yes, the walnuts, I think, isn't it? The brain walnut.
Yeah. Avocados for
the womb.
Yeah. What's that? Figs for male testicles, and celery for the bones. So it's amazing that all those different foods are actually aspects of ourselves. He also talks about the food that grows below the ground, and then he talks about it's from the hips down, and then from the hips to the neck is the food that grows along the ground, and the food from the neck up is the food that you reach for. He's such an inspiring man.
Yeah. Yeah, and I just love his no nonsense approach too. So he gave me a lot of confidence to just trust myself. I really do give it to him just go do it this way. And actually you mentioned celery. I had a lot of celery as well, and grapefruit. I still had 2 juices a day now. And the ones that I'm really attracted to, interestingly, what you said, Jeff, was I have lemon, grapefruit, orange, and I have a little bit of carrot, but purple carrot when it's in season. Cucumbers, because they're what are they, Julia? They're not dehydrating. They're
cooling and cleansing. Cooling, cleansing, and hydrating. Yeah.
Yes. So I have that in my juices as well every day. And then at the moment, I also have a little bit of green apple as well. So, I've gone a little bit easier now. So I have a little bit of, the sometimes sweeter things. Yeah. But I don't like it too sweet. But pineapple, I have pineapple in there every now and again too. I love it.
You ever go to Coles Woolies and you see in the new juice section there that they're $5 and it's cold press?
Oh.
Yeah, about a liter, and one's got carrot, kale, turmeric. It's got 5 ingredients, and then the green one's got all these green ones. And I was just wondering whether or not, the time you spent going to the greengrocer and getting all your vegetables, and then going through cold press, you start looking and saying, well, $5, and you start $5 a litre. How far can I go on $5 a litre when my petrol's going at $1.78 or something?
Wow.
For your value for money.
Well, I don't know. It's interesting you make that point. I decided, because with my income, I went, you know what, my health is really important, and I don't put a price on my my grocery bills anymore. It's absolutely ridiculous how expensive everything is. And some people argue with me and they go, oh yeah, organic, that's just a load of rubbish. But I don't know, I just noticed that it kept me fuller, and it was denser, and it was, I don't know, I just noticed a taste as soon as I went organic. And that was one of the first things actually I did with my kids, and we literally got rid of all of the toxic substances in our house and threw them all in the bin and started again. And I just go to an organic supermarket now. Coles is an absolute, I only buy stuff there for my kids' lunches, but that's just, you know, little bits that I can't get from the organic supermarket, you know, little cucumbers, for example, and things like that. Yeah. So I don't put a price on my, even though it kills my budget, I just go, you know, what price do you want to pay for good quality? To me, in my mind, it's good quality, you know, organic stuff.
So back to the protocol. So you chucked out all the toxic things. You went on a detox for 40 days, and you're still doing juicing. You did the lymph drainage and massage. What else did you do? I think coconut oil pulling or something.
Yes, had to bring my list in with me because I did so much. Oh my goodness! What else did I do? I actually used CBD oil as well. I also used the rebounder. So if people don't know what that is, it's like a mini trampoline wherever you come from and around the world. And I do that for about 20 minutes just to get my lymph moving, because the lymph, not unlike the vascular system, as it doesn't actually move. It's got to be pumped by walking or, you know, so the rebounder. So I was walking half an hour every day. So yeah, the lymph drainage. Oh, I was doing breathing as well. So if anyone's heard of most people have Wim Hof breathing. I found that really good, and he talks about it's really good for the endocannabinoid system, which is also, that's what the CBD oil is good for, and that's the immune system. That's really good for as well. So yeah, I said coffee enemas, and then I did the vitamins, and sun was another one. I actually found it really good to get out in the sun for 15 minutes a day, and I did sunbake, every day, and so that was really good for your vitamin D. I also tried putting essential oils on my breast as well, and the three that I found from the videos that I watched were myrrh, sandalwood, and frankincense. I didn't do that for very long. I was kind of just trying different things and seeing what felt right, so I did that. So sun.
Wait. I love that. So myrrh, sandalwood, and frankincense. I mean, you're treating your breast as sacred. I think that's wonderful.
Yes. Yeah, and I actually now, even this beautiful lady, the Happy Breast Balm, I think she makes, and she actually gave me some to try, and it's the most exquisite smell. And I just rub that on my breast, and it actually feels really comforting to put it on there. So yeah, it's nice. So I tried that. What else did I try? Primarily I have a raw vegan diet at the moment. But I'm not, like some people are really strict, going, no, I'm just going to do vegan. Whereas every now and again, my body feels the need to have a little bit of chicken. So I just have a tiny little bit of chicken or a tiny little bit of eggs if I need it. But that's every couple of months. Whereas it's primarily, and I've tried cooking my food and my body doesn't respond as well. So at the moment, while it's still in that process of regenerating itself and getting stronger, raw works really well. So I eat a lot of salads, and it's really fun actually. And my oldest daughter is has gotten so into all of this that she's actually deciding to become a nutritionist. So that's exciting. So she makes a lot of fun recipes. So we've got all these vegan books that we actually use. So so it's kind of fun creating all these new recipes. So what else did I do? So no sugar, that's a no-brainer. I did the coconut pulling. So that was about 20 minutes every day, and that really draws out a lot of toxins from internally from your organs and internally in your system. I actually also do infrared sauna as well, and that's part of, I did colonics. Actually, the colonics was a really major and still is a major part of keeping just getting rid of all, because this is the problem, my gut is very sluggish. So while I'm working on that and getting that stronger, I still need to get the colonics. So some people agree to that idea, and some people, you know, my mum sort of says, you know, she doesn't like me getting it because it really draws too much out of you. But I don't know. It was an intuitive thing for me. I stopped doing it, and it was really painful. And while I'm trying to get things moving again, I personally need them. So I'm really all for, you know, do what feels right for you. And this is where you've got to listen to what feels right for yourself. I'm not here to tell everyone else this is what you have to do. I just tried and experimented, and this is what worked for me. Yeah. What else? Lots of water. I also did coconut charcoal as well. That drags out a lot of toxins from your body as well.
How does that work? How does that work? Coconut chocolate. I haven't heard of that. Have you, Jeff?
Yeah.
I've heard of charcoal, but that's usually for bloat, isn't it?
But I originally was told to put it on as a poultice on my breast, and that was really messy because it was black, and I had to literally tape myself up, and then at night time, and then it would spill out everywhere, and then it was summer at the time, and so I was getting all these rashes from all the sticky tape, and I went, well, that's a bit stupid because I'm putting all these chemicals from the sticky tape back in my body. So I abandoned that idea. I went, I'm just going to drink it. So somebody told me about that, but it's it's really good at dragging the toxins out of your system. Apparently, it binds on. I'm not very technical on this, but apparently binds to the toxins and it drags them out. So yeah. So I find that quite good. And then also I've done the liver and gallbladder cleanse. I don't know if you've heard of Andreas Moritz. He was another really great mentor of mine. He's since passed away. I think he passed away in about 2008, but he's got a lot of YouTube videos, really little snippets on cancer, because he was quite successful at treating cancer. He did it for about 35 years. So, and he pulls no punches. I really like some of the stuff he was talking about as well. And I found him really inspirational because he's got this book called Cancer is Not a Disease, It's a Healing Mechanism. And so that really inspired me when the doctors were throwing their stuff at me, because they were all trying to get me into their way. I'd go and read his or look at his book or look at his videos, and that would re-inspire me to keep going with what I was doing. So, the liver and gallbladder cleanse, but I think there's lots of them out there. There's different people who suggest those. And, so they're some of the many things that I did.
So when you were standing up to the doctors, what was the worst thing that they were threatening you would happen if you didn't follow their advice?
Well, about 10 months after I ran away from them, they were lovely. I will give them credit. And the nurses kept ringing me, and they're going, I know you don't want to do this, but I'm just checking in on you. So that was nice. And then the lady who gave me the doctor who gave me the diagnosis, she rang me 10 months later, and it was really confronting, the phone call. That she got on the phone and said, now you don't want to die, do you? You've got 2 young children to live for. And I'm thinking, well, that's kind of why I'm not doing what you're suggesting. I'm doing it this way because I do want to live. Anyway, and she just kept going on and on and on. And in the end, I actually was really nice to her, and I just said, well, you know, this is really my healing journey, and I'm a really intuitive. I think I said I'm a really spiritual person, and this is what feels right for me. And pretty much what I said, I've never heard from her again. So I think she got the message that this is the way I'm choosing to do it, and I'll leave you alone now. So.
Because I think one of the things for many people is that their family and friends can give them pressure as well, not just the doctors. So then you're kind of fighting the front on 3, and then you can start to doubt yourself. And as Jeff says, people label you with that condition. Sort of, what did you find was the best thing your friends could do for you to support you?
The best thing, there was this one friend who would constantly check in on me. And because she had cancer just not so long before, and she would say, because my kids still needed to be taken to sport training, and that was, I found, really exhausting at the end of the day. So she would say, would you like me to take your kids to training? I'll do that. And she would sit there for an hour while they were at training and then take them home. That was really appreciated. And another friend was just there every now and again. Someone would throw something at me and I'd just ring her, and so I'd debrief, or she would just listen to me. So that was really, really supportive as well. Yeah.
So at the end of the day, what's your love language?
Sorry, what did you say, Jeff? At the end of the day?
What's your love language?
I haven't looked at that book for a very long time, and I'm trying to think. Is it acts of service? I'm trying to think what they are. One of them is acts of service, and one of them, what's it?
Yes.
Can you name them and I'll tell you?
Touch, quality time, and
affirmations.
Yeah, words of affirmation.
Yeah, it's in it. That one's been going through my mind for a very long time, particularly around relationships with men. And I go, what is it? And I've just recently met this really lovely gentleman. We both give each other the same level of love. So I don't know, what's that same attention, touch. Yeah. It could even be affirmations. That I'd have to probably do the whole thing again, because there's a flavour of a couple of them. Yeah. So
the only reason I bring it up is I was just sort of going forensically digging deep to find out where it originally started from. And most things start with a thought. So breasts always represent nurturing and suckling and being comfortable, comforting, that whole huggy, lovey-dovey stuff. So you correct me if I'm wrong, is there somewhere along the whole child through to adulthood, through to marriage, there's somewhere along the line you felt unloved?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'm a very sensitive person, and we've realised, this gentleman and I, that we both need a lot of love. And we tried getting it in our families. And although my parents loved me, I needed a certain kind of love and attention, and they were just way too busy to give that level of love. And I tried really hard to get it, but the more I tried, the more I was told I was like, I'm known for some reason. My friends would just laugh when I said this to them, that my family reckon I'm a drama queen. And I just go, that's really interesting that they call me not now, but in the past, I've been a drama queen. And I go, well, that's obviously trying to get attention, really, isn't it? Like, I'm here, notice me. So, yeah, it's interesting you asked that question, because I've really been digging deep around that for very many years. And a lot of relationships that I've just had recently over the last 10 years, like the last three that I've had, they've all gone really well, and then they've run away. And I go, but it was going really well. Why are they running away? And they get scared by the level of love that is required, I think, or the amount of love I give to them as well. And so I've really noticed it with this. We've only been going out for about 3 or 4 months now. And it's interesting. Both of us feel really comfortable with each other, because we both need a lot of love and we give each other a lot of love. And it's interesting. So I just, does that answer your question? So it's definitely it's definitely been misunderstood is probably really the main crux of answering your question. And so being misunderstood.
It's been a mirror, just reflecting back to you an issue that I think just need to be looked at. Hey, I will say this much: when my former wife left me, I remember sitting down and doing a meditation where I went and gave healing to everyone in our immediate family and outer family. And I said, I blessed them all and did that. I did that for 3 nights, did it to each and every one of them. And to me, it just cut all the cords. allowed me to get on with who I was going to be and what I was going to do.
Yeah, interesting. I actually got a psychic reading not so long ago, and I was really surprised. Even my former husband and I haven't been together for about 12 years now, and they said that the hook, he's still got a hook energetically attached to me because he's married now. He's remarried, but he does not want to see me happy. And so, yeah, I found that really interesting. It resonates. But I was just going, why? Why would that be the case? I don't know. A little bit more work on that one.
But to sort of turn the surfboard slightly. Jeff's an old surfer and I'm a windsurfer as well. So we're sort of going in one direction, but just to sort of double back. Yeah. I'm sure doing that kind of psychosomatic work is, and I think I mentioned to you about the work of Byron Katie, who developed a basketball-sized tumor in her stomach, and she was doing something similar to me in terms of just helping other people with, finding their triggers and their issues and where they didn't feel loved and dealing with that. So when she was diagnosed with that basketball-sized tumor, she just took responsibility. She says, if I created that, I can uncreate it. So I guess coming back to the lump that you found in the supermarket that was a part of you, is it still part of you, and do you know where it came from, or sort of what created it, or what it was expressing?
Yeah, interesting. As you were talking there, the thought that came to me was, it's still there. I still have the lump. It's changed shape. It's not as high and as round. And I ask it, why is it still there? And I know that it will not go away until because I've noticed myself lately, particularly with this relationship, I'm not as diligent with doing all of my protocols, and it takes a lot of energy to do that. And so I'm slipping back into old ways again. And I put on a little bit more weight, and I think that's because I'm more inflamed because I'm eating more of the food I shouldn't, and I'm eating more cooked food than raw food. So I know inside of me that lump is not going to go away until it knows for sure that that it knows that I'm on the right track and I won't go back to where I used to be. Because that was the thing. I was very tempted to get a lumpectomy because I had the last lump taken out because I want to say that I was lazy, because I knew that I could have healed it, but I don't know, I just chose not to. Whereas I kept going, but if I get it cut out, there's no physical evidence for me to stay focused and work on the issues of why I got it in the first place. So does that kind of...
Oh, absolutely. You've obviously connected directly with it and recognize it as a part of yourself and its purpose function, which was to make you aware of the route you were going on. And it actually brings me back to what you said. It was warning you that you were inflamed, and I know that not for the mammograms, but there are other alternative ways where they scan the breast to find out whether there's danger of breast cancer. What they actually scan for is how much heat there is. If there's too much heat in that area, so it is inflamed, then that's actually really bad and can lead to breast cancer. So you've obviously, got to the truth of it, of the lumps, raison d'être, purpose for being there.
Yes.
And you chose not to cut it out and ignore it. So well done you, and that's why you're here. And you've basically, your journey of a year has led you to set up that foundation, which we should probably talk about because we've only got 10 minutes left. So can I hand it over to you to talk about Breast Cancer Babes?
Yeah. I started Breast Cancer Babes, and the name, it was kind of like a fun, cheeky name. It's when I felt really so much younger once I went on all of these, detoxing my body, that I really felt really young at heart again. And so Babes is like a play on feeling younger and more alive. And so that was where the idea actually came from. So it's pretty much like the business. I was sort of thinking, as I said, I knew that I had to do something to help other people through this journey, because it really does take a strength of character to actually keep going on the journey. So really at this stage, and I've actually got a background in coaching. I love life coaching and supporting people. So that's pretty much the Breast Cancer Babes. I set that up primarily to start with. It's sort of a work in progress, actually, because it's to support other women who primarily, they've just been given the diagnosis that they've just got cancer, and so now where to. So it's supporting them in a journey if they want to actually take this journey and they have the strength to actually do that, and if they want to do that. So so I actually then started doing a lot of posts on social media, and I actually then went, I'm going to start posting on, one of the ones I did was the coconut, what was it? The coconut, we were talking, the charcoal, coconut charcoal, I was forgetting it. Sorry, yes. And so I posted something like that, and this one lady in Hawaii said, where the heck do I get that from? And I went, didn't think of that. And I went, right. So I actually think I'm in the process of going, I might actually start with all of the products that I liked and I found effective. I'm going to actually add them to my site as well. So, and then also I really want to get more into blogging as well. So a lot of people said, I'm really loving your blog. So, but primarily at this stage, it's offering people the coaching and the support and a structure, because I remember my head was all a bit of a fog, and where the heck do you start when you're so stressed and they're telling you to get in and get it cut out and whatnot. So it's just being there and offering the support for people who've just been recently diagnosed with breast cancer. And, that's where it is at this point in time. So, yeah.
I think it was a great idea. I just actually imagined that you could maybe have hampers, because when friends of mine got diagnosed, you kind of don't really know what to do, and it's their choice as to which way they're going to go. But if I could hop online and order a hamper for them with coconut charcoal and oil pulling and stuff, just for them to try out, that would be a great thing friends could do.
You know what? You are the second person who has now mentioned that. Actually, Rachel mentioned that to me. And that came up in a session that I had with her. I had a Reiki session. And yes, and thank you for reminding me, because I think it's a great idea also, because when you've thrown out all your toxic products, I'd like to have a non-toxic, house cleaning products, because I use all of them now. And I had in my mind that they wouldn't be as powerful. I actually find them way more powerful than a lot of the cleaning products that I used to use, actually. And knowing that they're not toxic.
I'm thinking that, plant surfactants are, much better cutting through grease and laundry than traditional ones.
Yeah. Well, I've actually got an oven cleaner, and I went, I hadn't cleaned my oven for about a year. I was really slack, and I thought, I'll give this a go. I was really not hopeful. I was then going to expect to put a mask on and gloves on to use the traditional cleaners. I used this plant-based product. Oh, my goodness. It was incredible. I just wiped it off. It cleaned way better than the traditional ones. I was really surprised. So, yeah, I'm a real believer in that. So, yeah, thank you for that idea, Julia. That's definitely something I'm going to pursue, because that sounds like that's the way to go as well. Yeah. Because, what do you give someone when they've just been recently diagnosed with breast cancer? And it would be a really lovely gesture for people. So, I'm going to definitely work with that. Thank you.
Good. And so for people who are listening to this, say in the UK or New Zealand, is it best for them to contact you over Facebook? Do you have a Facebook group, or just the website?
I actually do a lot of posting on my personal page under Marie-Louise Browne, but then I also do have the page, the Breast Cancer Babes page, that's actually linked to my Facebook page as well. So yes, it's actually up on the screen there now. Thanks for that, Jeff. Yeah. And so you can go into my name, and then you can actually link to the actual page as well. And I have been posting on Instagram as well, but I took a little break for a little while because I did this course, and I didn't learn my lessons, and I started working really hard, and I got really stressed again, and I had to actually get my health back again. So I've really learned that I've got to take care of myself. So, so I was posting a lot on Instagram as well. And I'm just, I think that was actually, that was under my name as well. So on Instagram. So, And then
I really like that. I really like that summary. You sort of take care of yourself, and then you can heal yourself. I guess that's pretty much what you've proven over the last year, isn't it?
Yes. Well, I kind of haven't really given myself a lot of attention over the years, and so really loving and myself and being really gentle and kind to myself and giving myself a lot of attention and making myself the priority. But I think the important thing is I've been brought up to work, and if you sit down, you're lazy. But it's also just a work ethic thing. I think it's just who I am as a person as well. So I work, and then I just collapse in a heap. So it's really quite challenging to unlearn what you've learnt and not to push yourself. So that's my learnings, and that I'm working on at the moment. So not to push myself too hard and make myself sick again.
Oh, no, I don't think you're going to get sick again with a bit of that love happening, mate.
Yeah, well, I think you're absolutely right. Yeah. And I've underestimated finding the right person in my life who their previous partner has passed away from bowel cancer. So it's really it's lovely to have someone so supportive and to understand where you're at. So that love, it's self-love. It is very important. Love is the answer, really, isn't it?
I think the hardest thing is actually, probably from a female perspective, when the decades of age start to appear, and it's about standing naked in front of a new partner and saying, am I good enough? That image, the body image, and trying to overcome that as well.
Yeah, that in the past that would have been the issue, but I think now, it's interesting because it's only for now, because I've lost all that weight, I feel really good about myself. But I know recently because I've been inflamed, I don't understand why I put a bit of weight back on again, and that's the only thing I can think of. So I do actually feel, at the moment, I don't feel as comfortable as I did. But yeah, it's interesting. But that's where that whole breast cancer babes came from. I was like, I had this body that I hadn't had since my last child was born, which was 15 years ago. So for me, it was a body renewal, actually. Really giving it all this love and raw vegan food, and all this detoxing. I actually looked more amazing than I've looked in a very long time, actually.
Very good.
Yeah, and maybe I can offer something from the Qigong, which is just working with energy perspective. So when breast cancer babes, babies have really full and round bodies and energy. And, you can see, you can listen to your languaging as you're saying, when you didn't feel comfortable in yourself or comfortable in your skin, that's when our energy goes out of our body. And the body is kind of then just deflates and becomes floppy, like an empty vessel. Because the spirit's getting ready to, it doesn't want to be in the body, and it gets ready to leave. But when you come in and you're into yourself and you're comfortable with yourself and you're nourishing yourself and you're loving yourself, then everything relaxes and becomes spherical and becomes healthy again. So back to what you said, love is all there is. And self-love is incredibly important, that we learn that it's not selfish to listen to our bodies and rest when we're tired, and not look like not consider ourselves lazy just because we're having a day off. And I love siestas in a lot of countries. It's perfectly fine to go home and sleep for 3 hours before we go back to work, and I really think we should go back to that generally, because stress is what causes illness, full stop.
Yeah, I do think stress has a lot to answer for in cancer. I really do, as well as there's a lot of toxins as well overwhelming the body. But yeah, definitely stress played a huge part in my. I know it played a huge role in why I got it, but I do believe with what you're saying, Jeff, it's that past issues that I hadn't dealt with either, and maybe this was the wake-up call, right? Okay, because for 10 years my intuition was screaming at me to have a vegan diet, a vegetarian diet, and I ignored it. So that maybe it's kind of like, right, okay, you're not dealing with all these issues. We're going to give you something that's going to stop you in your tracks and really sort this stuff out once and for all. So
I think it's important to realise that we're part of the food chain. It's just a matter of that. Where does that food chain come from, and what minerals are in that growing, or where it's actually produced, and whether the plant's doing the transformation work to bring those minerals into the plant for us to actually absorb. So it has to be something to do with our food chain that we need to have a good, serious look at. I mean, you mentioned about processed food, which is quite dead, and it's usually got preservatives in it. So you can understand why the body absorbs it and then puts it into these little sections called sacs, and then become a little a knob. As Don Tolman would say, a little sack there, and it's your body saying, "Well, this is your garbage. You need to take it out." Yeah.
yeah.
Whereas they otherwise just come and cut it out. But then where does the garbage got to go?
And that actually, you mentioning that's what that book, Cancer is Not a Disease, It's a Healing Mechanism, that's what he says. He believes that the most toxic part of your body is where all of the toxins actually, it's not, your body's not trying to kill you, it's trying to actually help you survive. And he believes that it forms that lump in the area of your body that's most toxic, because it's trying to help you survive. Fascinating theory, and it really helped me keep my perspective and go, right, okay, I can do this. That's all I need to do is keep detoxifying my body. Yeah.
So we can expect you to live for what, 500 years?
I don't know about that. Well, I guess if I keep doing what I'm doing, you just never know. Quite possibly.
I was having a chat the other day about that one, and I said, you do realise rank Xerox, photocopiers, you print out the original one and then you put it on the photocopier, and then you photocopy it, then you use the one that you've just photocopied to be the next one to photocopy. So you keep going down, and at the end of the day, you run out of toner. And when you start looking at the photo you've taken of a photocop, it comes down and you realise, oh, we've run out of toner. So their body needs that toner to keep producing original healthy cells.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah. Yeah, and I guess you just got to keep regenerating it with, I don't know, to me, that when you say that, it's like keep it healthy with all of the protocols that I'm doing to keep it detoxified, I guess, and keep it fed well with all of those nutrients that you were saying from the plants, and eating right. And yeah, I think also to bring to that, the mindset as well.
100%. Just going to go there. You're onto it.
Yeah, so the toner is love.
From
the plants,
yes.
from the earth, and from ourselves, and everything. So
yeah,
beautiful, Marie-Louise. That's just been such a pleasure, and thank you for being being brave enough to come on to our radio show and Dreaming the New Dream, and sharing, obviously also a very personal journey of healing. So well done, you, and thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much. I've really enjoyed the chat. It's been good. I've actually got a few little, I've learnt some stuff for myself as well, and got taken away a few things. So thank you for your contribution to this conversation, and feeling comfortable enough to suggest some things to me, because I've gotten a lot out of it myself. So thank you. Thank you both.
That's great. And Jeff, do you want to announce who our guest for next week?
There you go. Her name's Gail Riding. Is that right? Am I on the page there? Okay. Gail Riding's a personal friend of mine. I've known her for 6 years. Yeah. actually met her in the UK in a place called Paignton. It's just around the corner from Torquay on the English coast. Paignton, if you drive into Paignton, it's got "Welcome to the Gold Coast." And I have to tell you, it's nothing like the Gold Coast on Queensland.
Nah.
It's glorious, red, heavy-duty clay type sand. No waves, no surf, no nothing. But anyway, a nice place, and I happened to meet her at this venue. Awe-inspiring, fantastic. I loved it so much that invited her and her husband to come out, and her teaching of metaphysics, all the forms of mediumship and psychic, and the whole thing about opening your own intuition and following your intuition. That's what Marie-Louise was talking about, following your intuition. It's very important. And gals, they got the attributes there to assist anybody and everybody. And she does Zoom classes on a Wednesday and Friday, which suits our time slot here in Australia, in the East Coast, because it's done simultaneously, of course, in the UK. So you got a mixture of English and Welsh, Scottish students. Actually got Norwegian and Dutch as well, in conjunction with us guys here on the East Coast of Australia. Very good, and highly recommended. And there you go.
All right, so we'll find out more about her tomorrow, next week on Thursday, same time slot. So thank you very much, everyone. You've been listening to Radio FM 88, The Dreaming the New Dream, with our special guest, Marie-Louise Browne, and co-host and station owner, Jeffrey Shaw. Thank you and good night.